Hey there, can everyone see me? Okay, good. Looks like I'm live on both YouTube and on Periscope. Hey everybody, Daryl Lucas is from RDT Daily here. You have to bear with me here because this is only my second attempt at streaming live on Periscope. My first attempt at streaming live on YouTube, and also something recently happened that has me literally shaking with anger. Okay. If you follow me, you probably know that I've been posting lately about a massive coronavirus super spreader here in my hometown of Charlotte. One that was to be laid directly at the feet of the United House of Prayer for All People, a so-called church that has had a long-standing presence here in Charlotte. I say so-called because no real Christian organization would do what this outfit did here. During a so-called holy convocation earlier this month, a massive super spreader of coronavirus has occurred, which, as I record this, has been linked to well over 140 cases, including seven hospitalizations and at least 3 deaths, plus a fourth that's being investigated. And incredibly, even after this thing, it was apparent that this had caused a super spreader. These people were still planning on holding a flippin' revival for this past weekend. It left county officials with no option but to issue an abatement order, which ordered all 3 United Houses of Prayer shut down in the city for at least 2 weeks. Now, this hits very personal for me because, as many of you know, I'm a lifelong Charlottean. I grew up maybe 2-3 stoplights away from the United House of Prayer's main church in Charlotte on Baysford Road, just north of downtown. If you drive a further north and go 2 stoplights, you'll be close to my neighborhood. That's all the details I'm giving for now, for reasons that will become apparent later on. So the fact that these people were willing to continue with their plans for a revival, in so doing, they were willfully endangering people I know and grew up with, including my mom, who just turned 80 this past summer and is at high risk for catching coronavirus due to her age and the fact she has arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition, or at least maybe an autoimmune condition. And yet these people did not have the decency to offer the most basic details to county officials, like who attended this event and other contact information. And even what makes it even worse is that this thing attracted people from 5 states: North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, New Jersey, and New York, which means that the current case count is almost certainly way underreported. You would think that any church with an iota of decency and an iota of love for their neighbor would be falling over themselves to cooperate, but they didn't. And fortunately, it looks like they had the good sense not to fight further, because according to the local news reports, the revival didn't go on. Unless I missed something, nobody from what passes for leadership at this church has been screaming persecution, unlike what we saw from other churches over the spring that were complaining about not being allowed to meet when about 95% of the country is under stay-at-home orders, while hospitals and other healthcare agencies were trying to catch their breath and figure out and make sure they didn't get overloaded. You would think that this couldn't get more obscene. Well, it did. Yesterday, WCNC TV, Charlotte's NBC affiliate, reported that several members of the United House of Prayer anonymously claimed that church leadership knew they were having a major COVID problem while this what can only be described as a convocation caravan was well underway, and they didn't do a damn thing about it. According to these members, the convocation started early in sometime around late September, if I'm getting the timeline right here, and went for late September, early this summer, and went for 12 weeks across several different cities, including areas where the virus was really raging, like New York City and Buffalo. Excuse me here, I think I lost my Periscope feed here. Okay, I'm back up. You have to pardon me here. Like I said, I don't do live videos too often, and certainly across the platforms. But I am worried. But this whole thing has me so mad I could spit. Okay, where were we? Now, according to these former members, there were already outbreaks happening, multiple cases, including people dying, and yet the leadership kept right on going. What church leader, what human being would allow this to happen? Well, now we have our answer. The top leader of this church, a guy with a rather misleading nickname of Sweet Daddy Bailey, reportedly wrote a letter to church members urging them to keep coming to church, even if and local ordinances be hanged. So even if they didn't feel comfortable coming, even if they didn't feel safe, they should still keep coming? I can't even. Lest you think this is snark, folks, if you're on YouTube, I've got a link to the video. We'll post it on my post in the comment section. Hang on a sec. Yes. Okay, sorry about that. I thought somebody was at the door. Okay, where were we? Now, in the now, like I said, if you take them, if you think I'm making this up, the link I've got a link to the story linked in for those of you on YouTube, if you want to peruse it. So, let's see if we got this straight. Not only is, at the very least, the so-called leader of this church, knowing that his followers are concerned about coronavirus, is essentially issuing an ex-cathedra letter telling people to keep coming to church. And now there are reports that he and other leaders knew there was a coronavirus problem in his church with people dying, and they still kept this convocation caravan going. This whole thing has me so mad right now. I'm literally want to bite through nails. If this is at all true, the United House of Prayer essentially set a dirty bomb here in Charlotte, with the area close to where I grew up as the epicenter. If there is anything at all to this, somebody or a whole lot of somebody need to be investigated. Need to be investigated, and a lot of people need to go to prison for this. Yep, you heard that right. Everybody who was responsible for this, and that including Sweet Daddy Bailey, needs to go to needs to be before a judge, and needs to go to prison. People need to be held to account for this. A lot of people, and this is exactly the kind of thing that people were afraid of what happened when what happened, and if churches were supposedly allowed to meet without any restrictions. Do they want? I'm sorry, you have to pardon me again, because I cannot. Like I said, this has happened right in the middle of an area where I grew up, and to think that they need to put people I know in real life danger, it's just beyond belief. There's only one acceptable answer to this. Mecklenburg County's district attorney and the district attorneys and everywhere else where this convocation caravan went through, and maybe even federal prosecutors, if they aren't investigating this already, they need to be about it. And people need to go to prison. Because no civilized society can tolerate this, ever. That is all.